coming up on Citrus TV News live at 6.
We have results from yesterday's elections.
And temperatures broke almost records today.
Plus, breaking news out of California. All that and more. Citrus TV News starts now.
From the Citrus TV studios, this is Citrus TV News live at 6, your campus news leader.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Hunter Sines.
And I'm Caroline Strange. We're following multiple breaking news stories out of California. Those are our top stories tonight.
Five people are recovering after a student earlier this morning at the University of California, Merced, stabbed them. Authorities say police then shot and killed the suspect. 2 victims were taken to the hospital by life flight. 3 others had minor injuries that were treated on campus.
And now for our second story coming out of California. As a few moments ago, a shooter near San Diego International Airport has officially surrendered to the police. However, planes are still not being permitted to land at that airport. This comes following a standoff between police and the shooter at a nearby apartment complex throughout the day. Police say shots were first heard around 9 a.m. Pacific Coast time. There were no reports of injuries, and according to the FAA, departures are still allowed.
With the 1-year anniversary of the general body's first gathering passing yesterday, faculty continue to voice their support of the student organization. While relatively few faculty supporters joined at the onset of the general body's initial protest, many more professors hopped on board when the students were denied legal counsel. SU faculty wants to reiterate their support 1 year later as they still value the dedication and commitment the general body has toward improving Syracuse as an institution.
And Chief of Department of Public Safety Bobby Maldonado met with SU's Student Association Monday evening to gauge opinions about including race and ethnicities of suspects in DPS's public safety notice emails. Since 2013, SU has stopped including race descriptions after a complaint was filed by a group of multiracial students stating they felt they were marginalized by the descriptions. No official decision was made at the meeting, but many stated that the descriptions would be useful in actually finding and identifying perpetrators.
Republican candidate Billy Barlow has just won the seat for mayor of Oswego, making him the youngest mayor in the state of New York at the age of just 25. Barlow, a former city councilor, was born and raised in Oswego. He co-owns Barlow's Concessions, a family-run business. Barlow plans to bring a business perspective to the position and believes his youth will only aid him in fulfilling his duties.
And Republican Joni Mahoney won her 3rd re-election for Onondaga County Executive last night against Democratic opponent Toby Shelley. With almost 60% of the votes, Mahoney says she feels lucky to have the chance to serve the Syracuse community again. Mahoney was endorsed by Governor Cuomo 1 day before the election. The two have had a partnership since 2010, and it has brought a lot of attention to Central New York. Mahoney said she wants to move past Syracuse's negative image going forward.
And just 1 in 4 voters in Onondaga County cast their ballots in yesterday's local election. Citrus TV's Ray Merrick reports on the low number of student voters despite a convenient location right here on campus.
Students typically go to Bird Library for late night studying, to work on a research paper, or maybe for a cup of coffee and some food during finals week. But yesterday, the 7-story building served a different purpose, unrelated to studying. A place to vote in the local elections. Students and locals living in District 1 had the convenience of voting right on campus at Bird Library. The voting booth was located on the 1st floor, making the voting process hassle-free.
The process of going to vote was very easy, very simple. Read at Bird where everyone is already, so it really wasn't a pain at all to go vote, and it makes you feel good afterwards because you made a difference.
SU Libraries also hosted the United Way Bake Sale, which offered an assortment of homemade baked goods for voters. But not all students had the convenience of Bird Library.
Being on South Campus, on Lambert Lane, about a mile from Main, I was put in a different location, So it's easier for me because I have my own car to get there. But I do feel it's more difficult for a lot of people.
By 2 p.m., just 17 people of about 1,300 eligible voters here in the district came out to cast their ballots. I spoke to workers at the polling booth, and they told me that this was mostly made up of students, but added that a few staff members also came. In the election's biggest race for Onondaga County Executive, incumbent Joni Mahoney won her third term as she beat Toby Shelley. With the elections now over, county officials just hope the next vote can have a better turnout. For now, Ray Merrick, Citrus TV.
Coming up next, find out what Black millennials are saying about the state of law enforcement nationwide.
And a plane crash in Russia may have been caused by terrorists. That story and more coming up next.
Syracuse students felt almost record-breaking temperatures today. Find out exactly what has been going on with the weather after the break.
Would be people leaving their hands off of me. I'm always called names. Everywhere that I go, there's always someone calling me names, calling me gay. I've been choked, thrown up against a wall, punched. Nobody's ever tried to help me.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Huntington! Every proper bear knows that the right fit means everything. Especially when it comes to car seats.
Oh, really? I just did what any bear would do.
So know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size.
I like it.
To learn more, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Oh, hello there.
Oh, where's that bear?
Well, he's an iconic character to many Syracuse commuters traveling by bus to SU or downtown. And earlier this week, I had the chance to catch up with the bus driver, who I must say is certainly one of a kind. From coffee to brushing your teeth to packing your lunch, it's all part of the usual morning routine. As is for some, riding a bus to school or work. But on this bus, the route might be routine. However, the ride is anything but, and it's all because of the man behind the wheel.
Good morning, dear. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Fine and dandy.
Mickey Mahan, known to his passengers as the Flying Bus Man, describes himself as wild.
I struck somebody in the forehead the other day.
This morning, Mickey decides to pass out his own poetry via paper airplane, just before reading it over the intercom.
It tickles the untouched ivories, manufacturing a melody that grabs no one.
But for the ex-Syracuse University professor turned bus driver of more than 20 years, it's more than just sharing his poetry and well, melodies of bus stops with his riders.
I would like them to at least feel a little more carefree and to realize that being carefree is a possibility in life.
And to his passengers,
good morning, Saeed.
Good morning.
How are you, bud?
He's more than just a bus driver.
He cares a lot more, and he understands that like kids are kids, you know what I mean? And he tries to see like the best in everything, and he's never having a bad day, which is always really good.
Sophomore Devin Ward says one day after failing an exam, Mickey was there to brighten her day with a few words of motivation, helping her to realize
there are more important things than a test.
There is no satisfaction greater than that of being yourself, being who you are, not being afraid of who you are, loving who you are, and offering that to the world.
While to some, Mickey might just be another source of transportation, but to others,
he's safe, he's fun, it's a great ride.
Living proof that there's something better than routine, better than a great day, making someone else's.
And what a legend. Mickey's voice isn't only heard in the bus, he also records his own songs in a studio at his house. In addition, Mickey is an artist and holds a public poetry bash from time to time. Well, the shooting death of a police officer in northern Illinois has been ruled a suicide. Officials say Lieutenant Charles Joseph Glenowitz died after shooting himself this past September. Initially, the shooting set off a manhunt for several suspects. The Chicago Tribune reports the officer had been stealing and laundering money from a youth program run by his own department. And one Democrat in the race for president is signing up for the New Hampshire primary earlier than expected. Martin O'Malley is the first major candidate to put his name down for New Hampshire. The Maryland governor has been lagging behind Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders in the polls. The New Hampshire primary isn't until February. And the deaths of Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, and Freddie Gray have brought the reality of black lives to the forefront in this country. A newly released 2009 report says more than half of African American millennials say they or someone they know has been harassed or violently victimized by law enforcement. The report is from the University of Chicago. However, in the same survey, more than 70% of black millennials say they believe the police were also there to protect them.
Gay men in France will soon be able to donate blood. The French health minister says no blood donors can be refused based on their sexual orientation beginning in 2016. Many governments have imposed lifetime bans on gays donating blood because of the possibility of spreading HIV. And responsibility for the Russian plane crash early Saturday was claimed by the Egyptian Islamic State group in an audio recording circulated earlier today. All 224 passengers on board were killed. The group's Pledge of Allegiance to the Islamic State coincided with the date of the crash, and experts say the militants lacked the arms needed to shoot down the plane, but are still uncertain of the cause of the crash. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi said the Islamic State's claim was propaganda aimed at damaging Egypt's image. And Palestinians who throw rocks at Israeli soldiers will now face a minimum prison sentence of 3 years and could have their Social Security benefits taken away. The law comes as unrest has worn on for 2 months. Officials hope it will discourage protesters from throwing rocks and injuring others. Parents of minors who are convicted of rock throwing could also have their Social Security benefits stripped while their children are serving their sentence. And the presidents of China and Taiwan are taking big steps to improve relations. They will meet this weekend for the first time since 1949. The meeting will take place in Singapore. China has been calling for the unification for years, and Taiwan's current president has been slowly warming relations since 2008 by allowing lower-level meetings. The Taiwanese president will step down next year after completing the maximum number of terms. This meeting could have an impact on the election of his successor in January. Now let's head over to Hunter and Lindsay to see what we can expect after the break on Citrus TV News live at 6.
Thanks, Caroline. Coming up, ICYMI fills you in on all of the hot topics news you may be missing.
But first, it was a gorgeous day outside, but is the warm weather here to stay? I'll have the rest of your week's forecast on the other side of the break.
Preventing wildfires. That's all Smokey wants for his 70th birthday. So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed all that.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
It was an absolutely gorgeous day outside. I know one of my professors even let us have class out there. Definitely did not feel like a fall day in November. But Lindsay, how much longer do we think we'll have with this?
Well, Caroline, we will actually see this beautiful weather for a few more days. Today, Syracuse students felt something completely out of the norm. Temperatures reaching the 70s with clear and sunny skies. The wind was mild and there was extremely low humidity. As we take a look at Syracuse Temperature Almanac for November 4th, we can see that we are approximately 20 degrees above our average high, but actually on par with the record-breaking high. We were just 3 degrees shy of actually making it through. This warm weather is definitely a November rarity. Now, as we look at current temperatures across the region, we can see that Syracuse was not alone with all the warm temperatures of the region. Oswego, Binghamton, Buffalo, they all felt temperatures soaring for this time of year. Now, as we look at the entire nation, we can see that both the West Coast and the southern East United States, we can definitely tell they were feeling warmer temperatures too, but that's not nearly as big of a surprise as the 70 degree temperatures we see in the Northeast. Now, as we look at current winds, as I said before, there was completely mild winds for the Northeast today, which is why we don't even have any blue on the map, which is always great to see in the beginning of November. Now, as we look at current surface temperatures across the region, aside from this low pressure system moving its way throughout the United States, it's completely clear. Now, as we take a closer look at our region, we can see the lower pressure system moving through, but we won't start to see that precipitation till early this weekend. So as we look at the Doppler radar, we should be clear for precipitation for the next few days, which is always great to see. Now, as we look at tonight's conditions, we can see that we'll hit a low of 52, which is still pretty mild for this time of year, clear skies, and relatively tame humidity. Now, tomorrow we'll be seeing a beautiful day, very similar to what we saw today, temperatures reaching the 70s with mild winds and low humidity. Now, as for our 5-day forecast, we can see that we'll be seeing temperatures in the 70s for a couple of days. But don't worry, the rain will only be here for a few more days, and as we look, the rain will only be here Friday and Saturday from that low pressure system I showed earlier. Now, Sunday we'll be experiencing temperatures that dip back down into the 40s, which is more predictable for this time of year. But unfortunately, these 70-degree temperatures were quite the fluke. So don't worry just yet. Enjoy the sun for a few more hours.
Now, Lindsay, I saw it's going to be really windy on Friday too. How much do you think that's going to affect the 70 degrees we're supposed to see?
You know, it'll definitely make the wind chill a little bit colder, so it might feel closer to a 65 or 60s, but it's still completely beautiful for this time of year, completely out of nowhere. So definitely enjoy these warmer temperatures for the next few days.
Okay, thank you so much, Lindsay. And now it's time for something we like to call ICYMI, or In Case You Missed It. Here we bring you the latest health, entertainment, and consumer news. Hunter, what's going on?
Caroline, 2 major auto companies have announced recalls today. Volkswagen says 2015 and 2016 models of the Beetle, Golf, Jetta, and Passat have brake problems. The company expects a fix by the end of March and says drivers can keep driving their cars. Mercedes is also issuing a recall affecting more than 100,000 cars and SUVs. The company found a problem with the airbags that can cause them to inflate without warning. Owners will be notified if their car is included in the recall by the end of the year. And retail giant Target has announced they're closing 13 stores nationwide. Target says falling profit over the last few years is to blame for the major move. A major data breach back in 2013 scared off shoppers. Many haven't returned since. So far this year, the company has laid off more than 2,000 workers. And it's an exciting day for country music fans as myself, as the 49th annual CMA Awards happen tonight. Big names are being nominated, including Little Big Town and Eric Church, with 5 nominations. Church goes up against country heavyweights Garth Brooks, Miranda Lambert, Kenny Chesney, and Luke Bryan for the top honor of Entertainer of the Year. The show kicks off at 8 on ABC. And Jon Stewart is making the move to HBO. The former Daily host Daily Show host, reportedly signed a 4-year deal to produce digital content with the streaming service HBO Now. The pact agreement also includes the possibility for traditional TV programming. Stewart left Comedy Central back in August after 16 years with The Daily Show. And now that does it for this week's ICYMI segment. If you think we missed something, be sure, as always, to tweet us at CitrusTV News and let us know. Here's Jared with what's coming up in sports.
Coming up in sports, we have a preview of tonight's playoff match at the SU Soccer Stadium. Also, a veteran leader has emerged for the Orange basketball squad. All that and more coming up.
Tommy can't sing and Tommy can't dance, so we're gonna put some ants in their pants. Aww.
Kids will spend 22 minutes watching us, the super duper party troopers, sing about ants in their pants.
Isn't that funny? Ants in their pants, they got ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does. And like that, you're a job creator.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish. In your face, in your face.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Well, both New York hockey teams saw success on the ice last night. Let's take a look at the results. In Brooklyn, the Islanders took down the Devils 2-1. Brock Nelson and Casey Cizica scored for the Isles, while Travis Zajac netted the lone goal for the Devils. The Islanders are now just 1 point behind the Rangers for the top spot in the Metropolitan Division. Speaking of the Blue Shirts, they hosted the Capitals across town at MSG. New York took down Washington 5-2. Hendrik Lundqvist stopped 32 shots in the victory, while Derek Brassard, Calvin Klein, Kevin Hayes, and Oscar Lindberg each had a goal and an assist. The Rangers head west to play the Avalanche on Friday. A little closer to home, the undefeated field hockey team cleaned house in terms of the end of the season awards. Senior midfielder Alma Fine was named ACC Offensive Player of the Year. Senior midfielder Alyssa Manley earned Defensive Player of the Year. Freshman back Rose Weirs won ACC Rookie of the Year, and head coach Ann Bradley took home the ACC Coach of the Year honors. This is the first time a team has swept the awards since North Carolina in 1994. Syracuse plays either Duke or Virginia in the conference semifinals on Saturday. Well, last season, Jim Boeheim used freshman Caleb Joseph to run his offense, and at times the team struggled. Citrus TV's Kevin Ryan shows us how this season the offense features a veteran presence.
After the departure of point guard Tyler Ennis in 2014, SU basketball turned to yet again another fresh face to be the center of the team's offense. Caleb Joseph was immediately tasked to lead the team, and at times it certainly wasn't Ennis-like. So this season, Jim Boeheim decides to go older and insert Michael Benajay to run the scoring attack.
Buzzer beater, good! 1 second to go! Syracuse up by 2!
And he's improved his shooting skills, his ball handling skills, which is obviously why he could be in that position. But I really think he could be one of the most improved players I've ever coached.
Yeah, I do kind of feel like it's my team this year, but I also have in mind it's a team game as well. So just want to get things going, be a leader out there, and just play hard, and everybody else will follow.
He's become an incredible player. It's helped him. It helps him with any position he plays on the court. He can handle it. He can shoot it. He can make plays.
Certainly Benajay is a leader, and that point guard position is going to need a lot of experience. Kevin Ryan's Citrus TV.
Thanks, Kevin. Well, tonight, the men's soccer team starts the quest for the ACC Championship. Citrus TV's Lauren Walsh sits down with senior captain Yuso Pasadin to preview the matchup.
So taping this before the ACC tournament, which starts for you guys on Wednesday, and taking on NC State, played them just over a week ago. So what's the mindset heading into this game?
Oh, it's definitely, we're very confident playing against NC State, beat them last week 2-1 after a good victory. And playing home is always a big thing, having the fans out there. I like to call them our 12th man, so very confident.
So it's a relatively young team. How will you and the other upperclassmen prepare them for such a high-intensity tournament?
We talked about this earlier this week with the coaching staff and other staff members, and I think we need to go game by game and just don't think forward, just take it day by day. And we talked about what is also a wrong mindset going into the game. We can't have any stress that this might be the last game of the season, otherwise we'll play tense and want to play loose like the way we played before.
And lastly, what's the biggest takeaway from the regular season?
We have a new team, so now we know we have to be confident and we have to know that we can beat any team in the country, anywhere in the country. That was a question mark starting off the season because everyone was so new, so that's definitely it.
All right, Yuso, thanks for joining us and good luck in the game.
Thank you.
Now, Jared, Syracuse men's soccer is taking on NC State tonight at 7 down in Manly. What do you think we can expect from them?
Definitely a good matchup. These two teams both ranked 7th and 10th. Syracuse ranked 7th. They played just about 2 weeks ago, and it was a 2-1 victory for the Orange. So expect a very, very tight match as the ACC Championship rolls on.
Alrighty, Jared, thank you so much. What will you be wearing to class tomorrow? Lindsay has the answer.
We'll be right back.
They're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Welcome to Orange Press Pass.
Orange Press Pass is your ticket inside the Syracuse locker room. Hear from the coaches.
8 and we didn't win 8. We got some open looks from the perimeter
and players.
Well, I saw pressure coming from the backside.
Get in-depth analysis, reports on site, and more.
Let's go on OPP.
Orange Press Pass, live after every Syracuse game.
What can we expect for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow's going to be a day very similar to today. It's going to be temperatures reaching the 70s, so feel free to break out the shorts, break out the sundresses, break out the sunglasses. It's going to be beautiful out.
And after the temperatures we see today and tomorrow, when do you think we're going to finally get some snow?
You know, I don't want to jinx it, but I don't see snow anytime soon. It's been beautiful. The temperatures have been way above freezing. So the only type of precipitation we've seen is rain. So snow, in my opinion, is not for the distant future of a couple of weeks.
Thanks so much, Lindsay. And that's all the time we have for today. I'm Caroline Strange. Make sure you check us out online at CitrusTVnews.net.
And if you can't get enough of us here at Citrus TV, well, we're on OTN until 8 p.m. Stay tuned for The Bench, On the Bench, Syracuse Unpeeled, and Noticias. I'm Hunter Sines. From all of us here at Citrus TV News, have a good night.